Okay, hello guys, welcome to Comics Unmasked. It's a half-hour episode today because it's very warm. We're in the middle of a heat wave.
Hence
Is it
the
a heat
cider.
wave? Can we keep calling it a heat wave when it happens every year?
Yes, because it is above average. So
True,
until the average goes up, it's still a heat wave.
True, but we seem surprised at this every year, and it's just seems to be the norm now.
I think compared to the Pacific Northwest, we have nothing to complain about.
No, true.
I listened to a podcast from a guy who's in Portland, and he published an episode yesterday as we record this. This is British History Podcast, by the way. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Check it out. And he was saying he literally had to stand there and like cool his PC while it exported because otherwise it would overheat and shut down. It's insane.
Yeah. So, comics, guys.
Yes, much more interesting than climate.
Yeah. I hear comics are dying.
Allegedly, but
Yeah.
If I have anything to say about it,
every number in every market disproves that
Yeah.
statement. But and the amount of books DC are publishing, I think we went over it last time. I think I said there was 9.
Yeah.
11 new minis or ongoings
Worth noting, it's just
in
kind of getting
October
back to their
alone.
pre-pandemic numbers.
Oh no, this is above that already. I think.
I don't think it is. They were about. So I was reading an article and someone was working out for maths. They were publishing about 100 odd books a month.
Is that counting double shipping titles though? Because if you count individual titles, then there'll be
you
above
should count
it.
double shipping in that.
If you count double shipping as 2, then it's very murky because DC are changing every month which books are double shipping and which aren't.
Yeah, but you should count double shipping as it's 2 books,
Publishing
it's 2 separate
twice,
issues,
yeah.
so it's 2 books published that month. So they were publishing 101 books in February before the pandemic, which was the last full pre-pandemic month.
A lot of books.
bloody hell.
So they're still not up to the, and I don't think they should get up to those numbers. To be, in all honesty, I think the direct market probably works better.
I think also it's safe to assume though that those are including the Scooby-Doo books, the Mad
Oh, yeah, of
magazines,
course.
stuff like that they also publish, not just superhero comics.
But DC's current strategy does very much seem to be evergreen titles.
Can't fault them
No,
for that.
I don't fault them at all. I've been saying for years it's probably a better way to run.
I think part of me is disappointed because I really like long, ongoing runs of comics that are crossing in and out with other things over time, not all at once, not all at the start of a run. Marvel.
But then here's the question: do you actually prefer reading them after the fact when you do reading them monthly?
No, I love reading them monthly. I think they are amazing. It's an experience to read them monthly. I don't care as much about rereading them after the fact. The same thing we said for me with a lot of TV.
You're reading Birds of Prey and things at the moment, which obviously does a lot of that.
Yeah. Same we said for me with a lot of like TV, for example, especially network TV. Watching it weekly, I think it's great. I love it. I love having my weekly dose of this thing.
Yeah.
If I start to try and binge it, I struggle and I fall off it because it's not interesting enough. And I think that is probably true with a lot of monthly superhero comics, the general ones.
Speaking on things like this, I'm slightly concerned for Fair State.
Oh,
I read some Gotham books. I do not remotely read. I read Nightwing. I read Catwoman. I read Harley Quinn. All 3 of those books are being dragged into Fair State. I don't want to read anything else monthly.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that could be a problem because the primary Fair State book is Batman.
Yeah.
It's possible because it won't be the first time they've done it, won't be the last. The Fear State tie-in nature of it is played up for the solicits to drive sales, but when you actually read it, it's fine.
I mean, I like Tinian. Maybe I should just go back and.
You'd probably really enjoy his Bat run. It's not peak Tynan, don't get me wrong. It's really not.
I think I'd jump
but
in
it's fun.
Post Future State. But for
Why? All the
pre-Future
states on DC Universe. Just read it.
Yeah, it's a lot to read, though, isn't it?
It's like 10 issues, 12 issues. He wasn't on it for that long.
Doesn't it become a big event before Future State as well? Isn't it like a big Joker event?
There's a Joker wall, but you don't need to read any of the tie-ins. I think I barely read any of the tie-ins.
Okay.
Very confident I barely read any of the tie-ins because they're all in books I didn't. Because I definitely didn't read Nightwing at the time because that was still Rick Grayson nonsense. I probably read Cat. Oh no, actually, I don't know if I read Cat. That might have been just before Ram V took over Catwoman, so I don't know about that.
Ram V took over Catwoman before Joker War.
Okay, then that didn't tie in heavily.
As Joker War was happening.
Actually, I know what happened with that. I believe there's a backup in one of the issues of Batman in Joker War or just before Joker War that sets up the Catwoman run.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one didn't really cross over much. Detective Comics, was I reading that at the time? No, I wasn't reading that at the time because that was Tomasi doing his stuff.
How is the cover Detective Comics?
Really good. It's Mariko Tamaki, I believe.
Oh god, I'm just doubling down. I'm gonna be all in on Gotham.
It's Tamaki, and the main artist is Dan Mora.
I love Dan Mora.
When Dan Mora is taking a break to do Once and Future, which is right now, he's working on that. I mean, in the publishing schedule, I'm not sure what he's doing right this very second, but in the publishing schedule, right now, he's off on his break, and we have Victor Bogdanovich.
He was also very good.
Pretty good. And Jordi Belair's doing the colours and doing a magnificent job of keeping it consistent.
I'm trying to resist going all in on Gotham because if I'm going to go all in on any kind of DC world, Gotham is probably the one I would do it in.
I mean, you're already halfway there.
Yeah, and I guess we're getting the Batgirl back up soon, aren't we?
That's starting in October. Batgirl's back, yeah.
Oh, God. Fine, Connor.
I'm sorry. I'll advocate. I mean, I've made you read Marvel books as well, though, so I don't feel too bad. I made you read Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow is excellent.
This is why I'm glad that I'm just sort of dipping my toe into Immortal Hulk and reading something that's already finished without committing to a monthly title.
Yeah, like no, don't get me wrong. Right now, DC have so many things I could recommend that you don't need to worry about any other books.
Yeah.
Because, as James pointed out, they're going for a lot of that evergreen market. Yes, they are publishing a lot of ongoing monthly titles that are traditional core superhero comics, but they're also publishing a lot of stuff that's not that.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing is allegedly crossing over with Suicide Squad, but it seems very minimal if you're reading Swamp Thing. Like, it's unintrusive.
Yeah.
That's a freaking amazing book. If you're enjoying Immortal Hulk, you will love Swamp Thing. That is...
Yeah, I mean, since I heard Ram V's on it, right?
Yeah, Ram V with Mike Perkins on art.
Immortal Hulk is Hulk as Swamp Thing,
Perkins
right?
Is a great artist.
Yeah, and this is Perkins working to his strengths. I love Perkins on the right book.
Did he do The Stand at Marvel?
I don't know because I never read it. That's the Stephen King, right?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure he did that, and that was phenomenally well illustrated.
I am just check.
Just say you're going to get a Church's print as well, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to for the podcast, right? I don't even listen to Churches,
hey,
but I get the
this poster by Jamie McKelvey, £5 on Church's website right now.
Oh, fair, okay.
That's pretty much why I barely listen to Churches, but I like McKelvey art a lot. And you were right, Mike Perkins was on The Stand.
Yeah.
Churches are slowly releasing the singles of a new album. They're very good. One of them
do you know who else is releasing new music?
Who?
Iron Maiden. I'm very excited. It's been like 5 years. We've just got a new song for the first time in like 4.5 years.
As he is one of those aging rock stars who is like, but I didn't
think... Yes, Bruce Dickinson is a bit of a Brexit nonce.
Thing is, I had such respect for the man as well beforehand. It's like, oh...
I did as well. He did a lot in his local community, employing a lot of jobs, especially because he has a pilot's license and owns like a little airfield runway and employs people there. When Iron Maiden make their beers, they go to smaller independent breweries and team up with them. Like they're pretty good at that sort of stuff as a brand. And Bruce as a person seemed to be on that, but then he went full Brexiteer, which
thing is he's done the same thing as the Who did as well. It's that whole it's the whole I didn't know the people eating leopard party was gonna eat my face.
Pretty much, and that sucks, but they're still one of my favorite bands of all time, and I love the music. And annoyingly, I really like his songwriting.
I saw him on the last tour.
I saw him tour before, I think. They put on a great show. They always do. And it's something they've been going for a long time now, right? Like coming up on 50 years, something like that.
Jesus.
And they are still touring regularly and creating studio albums
His stage
semi-regularly.
presence for how old he is.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Like,
They are the only other band that I can think has probably been going that long in a mostly consistent lineup is probably the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson and Hayley Williams are the two people. I've never seen anyone hold a stage quite like either of those two. And I know that seems a weird comparison, but
No, I get what you. Having seen both of them, I completely get what you mean. They are captivating personas
I
on stage.
remember it was a Leeds Reading Festival where Paramore and Queens of Stone Age were co-headlining.
Oh wow!
That's a hell of a show.
Paramore had I'm not the biggest Queens of Stone Age fan, but Paramore were headlining Leeds with Queens as the earlier slot, and it was the other way round at Reading.
Seems fair.
During Paramore's slot at Reading, the power cut out. BBC's cameras were still working, so it was still getting recorded.
So presumably you could still watch this now.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. It's sometimes on iPlayer.
They tend to put these things on iPlayer on a semi-regular basis.
And at a festival, so bear in mind, a festival's a tough show as well because everyone in that audience isn't necessarily there for you, right? They're not necessarily your fan, which is why playing album tracks at a festival, not a good idea, Metallica.
Yeah, but some of their album tracks are the best.
They are, but people want to hear the hits. Generally, at a Metallica show, play all the album tracks in the world, right? But when you're at a festival slot, people want
Play
to hear
Nothing
the hits.
Else Matters. Play one.
Yeah. People are there for the hits, right?
Yeah.
So not everyone in the crowd is inherently a fan. And she managed to... One of the other band members got like an acoustic guitar. They still managed to get some mics that were working. And they managed to hold the crowd. Why apparently it ended up being for BBC Tech. So they managed to get the power back on for the Reading
That doesn't surprise me.
stuff. So why they were trying to fix this power shortage at a music festival late in the day when everyone's,
Pissed and high.
Yeah.
she managed to hold the crowd, and that's like, damn, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I think probably the best person I've seen in that regard is probably Nick Cave. Every show I've seen him in, he's just an absolute madman on stage. You think he's in his 60s now.
I think part of that is as well, like, I don't know if it would work at a festival because he has like a cult, essentially, that will go and see every single show.
Yeah. Well, like, there was this one, last time I saw him was at All Points East in London, which was a festival show, but he was the headliner.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of cancels each other out. But like he was on stage and just like he's like, somebody shout out a song, we'll play it, and all these people were shouting out songs and songs. And he was like listening, going like that, and he kind of goes to the microphone. He's like, eventually, one of you will say a name of a song that's on this very short list in front of me.
The last show I went to was Carly Rae Jepsen.
Nice.
As you do.
As you do, and I know somewhere in that room, Jamie McKelvey was there as well.
Yeah, awesome.
I know he went to the same.
He's a big fan. That doesn't surprise me.
And as happens at all Carly Rae Jepsen shows these days, she got given a sword.
I have not heard enough about Carly Rae Jepsen shows, apparently.
It's a thing. Yeah. Give Carly Rae Jepsen a sword became a whole thing for a while. So basically, at every show, she now gets given an inflatable sword by someone.
Is there context to this, or is it just the thing?
No, people just want Carly Rae Jepsen to have a sword. As the internet goes.
Yeah.
Internet goes, internet does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There's a tabletop RPG completely based around her as well.
Of course there is.
The idea is that because she's got a vault of like hundreds and hundreds of unreleased songs.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, she's very prolific in the writing department, and she just has tons of songs she's made and just not ever released.
I'm pretty sure I could literally only name you one song.
So the idea of this RPG is that it's set far in the future, and someone hires you as a team of crack-like criminals to steal the vault of unreleased Carly Rae Jepsen songs.
Didn't Zack Snyder steal the plot for Army of the Dead from that?
Have you seen that's getting a prequel with no zombies?
Is it? I've
Yeah.
still not seen it.
Called Army of Thieves.
Okay. I guess the character work was exceptional and demanded that we need more of these characters.
Yeah.
I assume they had to do a prequel because I'm assuming that most of them die in Army of the Dead.
I mean, it is a zombie film,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
probably. Weird.
Yeah, so
Weird thing.
so comics.
Comics, yeah.
To be fair, we mentioned McKelvey a couple of times in there.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I'll mention something. The new Dune trailer came out today, which I'm very excited about, and it is.
I've not seen it yet. And
Oh, well, I won't say anything
Hey,
about what's in the trailer.
If you pause it, it's a comic.
Yeah, if you pause it, it's a comic.
to be fair, there is a Dune adaptation of
There
it
is.
in
Well,
comic
I
form.
was about to say it's prompting me to finally read the adaptation.
Well,
Because I've already read the novel. So.
I think I'm gonna give. I gave a novel a try as a kid. I never got into it. I think I'm gonna give it another go.
I listened to the audiobook probably a couple of years ago now, which is a very interesting experience because half of it is like a fully voiced cast radio drama.
Yeah.
And I say half, it's probably close to a third. And the rest of it is just a narrator. And it just jumps back and forth, chapter to chapter, which is really disconcerting.
Yeah.
But the performances are really good as well. So I was never mad when it jumped into radio drama, but also the narrator was solid. So it was never that big a loss.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and I keep meaning to go back and read more Dune books. I hear this film is only half of that
Yes.
book.
Yeah, it's first,
And, you know,
first half of the book.
We're never getting the second half, so enjoy
It's
it.
never going to sell well enough. Yeah.
Which I can tell from the trailer. I feel like the trailer, for anybody who hasn't read the book, is very spoiler heavy for the first half of the book. It did feel like a trailer where they're like, come and watch this. This is the basic narrative structure of the film.
One of those trailers.
You know, yeah.
And while I've never finished Dune the book, I've watched and love the Lynch film.
That is a unique experience.
I've never been able to...
I will stand by it as not a good film. I will say it is objectively a bad film, but it is a great experience to watch
I
that.
love it.
I mean,
of course I do. And me.
Lynch himself would also agree that it's not a good film because he refused to have his name attached to it.
Yes, it is, however, getting a 4K remaster being put out by Arrow Video in a couple of months.
Which will probably be a great release, and everyone should go and get that.
And I have seen and rather enjoyed the sci-fi miniseries as well.
I've not.
seen 2/3 of the sci-fi miniseries and felt like there are things I loved about it and things that I didn't, and things that I didn't were enough that I couldn't finish it. The guy who played Harkonnen was too cartoony for me.
Someone pushed
and
it on
not
me
evil enough.
because they're a big Dune fan, and I really like the Lynch film. He's like, the Lynch film is god awful. You need to watch this. This is a good adaptation. And I was like,
it's really boring.
It's fine.
It's very slow. It's very boring. Very into the plot.
The book is.
It's probably
phenomenal.
It probably is a better adaptation, but
it's more faithful. But I don't think it transfers well because it's just a series of
I
conversations.
have Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah.
I'm on the record of saying, and this goes for comics or books, when you're adapting it to the screen, you need to change things.
Yeah.
More so from books than comics, because you can kind of get away with treating comics as storyboards, but timing doesn't work that way usually.
Yeah.
But things that look great on paper or look great in your imagination from the words of a book do not translate well to screen a lot of the time. And that is where you need to change things. Don't get me wrong, there's a line, you can't just make it unrecognizable. But there is a reason, looking at, for example, the Harry Potter films. The 5th Harry Potter film is possibly is the second best of that series.
Yes, while the book is the worst.
It is by far the most different from the book as well. It is by far the one that edits down the most. Order of Phoenix.
Yes, that was
Right.
the point that no one dared edit.
Yeah, rolling. Yeah.
yeah.
Whereas the film liberally edited down and made it a tightly 2-ish hour film. I think it was. I don't think it was that long. Not as absurdly long as the book was, anyway. And it was a great movie. I still think Prisoner of Azkaban is the best movie,
It is.
and it's one of the more faithful ones to adapt by its nature of being one of the short books.
Yeah.
But also that's what happens when you put
It's
Alfonso
also
Cuarón in
Prisoner of
charge.
Azkaban.
It's stylish as shit.
Yeah, and it sets the prior two films don't have character in the same way. They're good. They're kids movies, not bad ones by any stretch.
There's a reason that in the UK they are often considered Christmas movies.
Yes.
They play at Christmas time. They're
While
kid friendly and like you just stick it on and
Prisoner
yeah,
of
it's nice.
Azkaban sets an aesthetic that the rest of the films, apart from maybe Goblet, follow.
Goblet is far and away the worst movie.
Goblet.
It's the worst movie and the worst adaptation.
I mean, I don't like any of them, so.
Goblet feels like Twilight.
Which obviously was before Twilight.
Yeah, but Goblet feels like a film that's adapting a young adult.
Yes. Whereas then I think Yates came in for
and
5
Yates
onwards
kind of
and
picked up the aesthetic of
Cuarón. He toned it a little bit, made it his own thing. A little bit more generic, I would say, than Cuarón is, but I mean that's most directors, let's be honest. And made a really good handful of films for the back half of the series, I would say. And good adaptations, and not necessarily just one-to-one off the page.
But yeah, if that said, we don't need to buy anything Harry Potter related anymore, so let's
Yeah.
I'm really annoyed in that I don't. You can probably just about see them down there on the bottom corner of my bookshelf. Those are the first 4 illustrated editions, which are utterly gorgeous, like truly gorgeous editions of books.
The Jim McKay is the illustrator. Right?
Yeah, like they look phenomenal. And there are no more out yet. I'm sure they will be coming over the next handful of years. Obviously, it takes time for him to do them, especially when the books get to that goddamn size. I'm torn because I kind of want to complete the collection because they look gorgeous on my shelf and they're great looking visual feasts for my eyes.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to give Rowling any money.
second hand.
Yeah. Honestly, the last 2 have been like presents from like family members who have just like not known what to get me, so they've just got me those. Where it's like, yes, they're still new, and yes, there's money still going to it, but I didn't purchase them.
On the Dune front, I do think Timothée Chalamet is a good.
Well, the weird thing that happened was when I was reading it in about 2 or 3 years ago when I was living in Scotland, I was about 20, 30 pages into it, and just the way that Paul was described, I was like, you know who'd be really good as Paul is Timothée Chalamet, and then like 2 weeks later, as I was reading it, Chalamet was cut.
I'm still really mixed on him as an actor, in that I think he's good. I think he's very good at 1 or 2 specific things.
I loved him in.
I don't think he's got a lot of range.
Like he was very good in Little Women.
Yes, yeah.
He was pretty good in that. Yeah, that's probably the best I've seen him. Obviously, most people will
Also,
say, "Call Me by Your Name." I think it was the name of it.
Yeah. Oscar Isaac's that bit in the trailer where he's like, "Hey, even if you don't want to be some grand leader, you're still all I ever need you to be, my son." It's like, oh, that's a really.
Is he playing
Duke?
the Duke?
Yeah. Also, I can't wait to see his Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read the first issue of bring us back to comics. I've read the first issue of a new Moon Knight.
Who's on that one?
I read it. I should know, shouldn't I?
You should. You read it like 2 days ago. It's fresh. I this was not a trick question. I thought you might know the answer to this off the top of your head. I'm very sorry.
No, it's all right. It's one of those where I'm not. Jed McKay is writing it, which I've been. He's good. He's doing good work here. And
that's. I'm yet to read anything from him that I haven't thought was mediocre at best. Maybe this will be the thing.
And Alessandro Cappuccio on art.
Yeah, I'm looking at the preview page on Comixology right now. It looks nice
the whole
enough.
concept is he's opened up church, and people come to him, and are like, "Oh, this is like these people are troubling me at night. And obviously the whole thing with Moon Knight is his mission is to protect night travelers, right?
Yeah.
He's religious Batman.
Isn't that Daredevil?
No, that's Red Batman. This is black and white Batman.
Although arguably Red Batman is also... He's Catholic Batman.
Oh, okay.
This is ancient Egyptian Batman. But...
Yeah.
But yeah, so he set up a mission, and he's like, and also throughout the issue, he's speaking to his therapist. So obviously, Moon Knight is a character with mental health issues, and he realizes like they have come to this that he is a devout follower of his religion who is at odds with his God. Because he thinks his God is being punished in hell for whatever reason and deserves it. But that he still at least believes in what the faith should have been about, if not what the God actually wanted him to do. So he's like, I still think we should protect those who travel at night. And there's a doctor who's moved into town, and it turns out he's the other fist of Khonshu, and he's here to basically punish Moon Knight for betraying the faith. And there's vampires.
Yeah, I saw vampires in the preview pages.
Yeah.
I wonder if Moon Knight's going to cross over with Blade at all. When the movie
Probably eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I think because there's rumours, obviously, that we're going to be getting Werewolf by Night in the MCU soon, and I'm going to guess it's going to be in the Moon Knight show. So that's when Moon Knight was introduced, wasn't he, as someone who was hunting Werewolf by Night.
Oh, no.
But yeah, Moon Knight's one of those characters I've always wanted to really get into and just never have. Because I love the aesthetic.
I'm sorry, but I have terrible news for everyone here.
Yeah.
Right. Put Dune out of your head for a second. This isn't related to that. What's your most anticipated movie of the year? Both of you.
Green Knight.
Correct answer.
Yeah, Green Knight, probably.
It's no longer getting a theatrical release in the UK.
Is it at least
It's supposed to be coming. It's supposed to be coming out in the theaters in 2 weeks' time, and it has now been pulled.
Why?
Have they said where it's gonna?
A source for the Hollywood Reporter claims that a streamer had dangled a deal that they couldn't resist.
Fine,
And given
as
that it's A24, it's probably Apple. But I was really looking forward to going to this. This was going to be my return to the cinema.
Yeah.
Like Green Knight, that was the
Cinema,
one.
but as long as we get a timely home release, I'm okay. But I don't want it to be like 6 months after it's come out everywhere else.
Yeah.
Wait, it can't be Apple.
Well, hang on. Green Knight is one of 2 prolific UK releases to be delayed this week, along with Warner Bros. Distributed British drama release The Duke. That will now not arrive until March or April 2022.
What was that? The Duke.
The Duke, which is a Jim Broadbent and Helen Mirren movie.
Oh, okay.
There's no date on this, but
I've been waiting for this movie for a year and a half.
it has been far and away my most anticipated movie
Just
for like 2 years now.
In character. Also has a tabletop RPG you can go to the A24 store and buy.
I don't give a shit about the tabletop RPG. I just want the goddamn movie. I want my Ethereum movie.
I really want it.
I'm just gonna have to reread the book again.
If it was Apple, it would have been pulled everywhere, States as well.
Not if they only got the rights to the UK.
Apple aren't going to buy a one country. Prime. It'll be Prime.
Either way, I'm gutted. This was the movie that the movie that I was looking forward to the cinemas for the last 2 years have been this and the Bond film. Those were the two, and now I'm losing this one.
I booked in to see Suicide Squad next week. I went for the 11 o'clock screening on a Friday, thinking no one's going to be going to that, right?
Probably not. I don't even know what I'm going to do with Suicide Squad. I'll maybe wait. I don't know.
I've also got.
Well, it's coming out digital as well, isn't it?
America.
Well,
I don't know what they're doing over here with it.
Well, I saw it's going to HBO Max, and I know Snyder's Justice League went to Now TV. Was it?
That was a special. That was to do with the rest of the. That was never intended to have a theatrical
Right, yeah, fair enough,
release.
I suppose.
The rest of what we were doing with the Warner films was about sometimes on the day, sometimes a week later, sometimes a month later, they went to $15.99 rental on iTunes and Prime.
Yeah,
But since UK cinemas started opening up again, they stopped doing that.
right.
And they just
Yeah,
had
which-
theatrical releases in the UK.
It sucks because I have basically not been to almost any comic book movies in the cinema in
Yeah.
the last few years. I went to Birds of Prey, and the one I went to before that was Avengers
Okay, I would say
Infinity
it's
War.
worth
Not
noting
Endgame,
out,
Infinity War.
the only comic book movie that has come out since Birds of Prey is Black Widow.
Yeah, but even before that, it had been like 2 years since I'd been to one.
Yeah.
I just
I'm not.
there was
not
so
giving
many
a-
that I didn't need to go to all of them.
I feel a need to give ticket money to Margot Robbie Harley Quinn properties just because I don't want Warner to wrestle the character away from her.
That's fair. She's doing a
Like-
great job.
Yeah. Because I'm firmly of the opinion that she is the one in charge
Yeah,
of most things over there when it comes to Harley.
Yeah, I mean we got a new Batgirl cast this week,
Yes.
whose name I don't remember
Is
because
this
I'm not familiar
tying
with the
into Ben
actor.
Affleck Batman, or is this separate from Ben Affleck Batman?
Ben Affleck Batman isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah, no,
Or
that
like, is it in universe with that, or is it?
who knows?
The Snyderverse is gone.
Yeah, probably not, but
I guess
Yeah, who
technically
knows?
the Shazam and Aquaman films are still in the Snyderverse. Technically.
and if they make another Wonder Woman film, which
Yeah.
they're claiming they will, but given how the last one performed, who knows?
But an argument
I
could be
guess
made if the
Suicide
second
Squad
Wonder Woman film
Snyderverse
isn't.
as well. Suicide Squad is Snyderverse as well.
The new one, we're not 100%
Maybe.
sure.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really don't know.
Yeah,
It's
been
it's
as
all a
much
bit it's all a bit
described-
of a mess at Warner right now.
Yeah, it's been as much described as a reboot as much as a.
Yeah,
That said, Birds of Prey, I guess technically is.
Yeah, I mean it's it's Margot
just-
Robbie's Harley, and
Yeah.
it references the Jared Leto Joker.
And Suicide Squad, however, has a character who died, the new one, in the original. So
Does it?
I think so, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't remember that original well enough because it was bland as shit.
the only
Yeah.
thing that I remember was Slipknot being killed like 10 minutes after he introduced, just feeling like this is really fucking disrespectful to pretty much any Native American moviegoers, you know.
I get that. I'm gonna give. I won't defend a lot of things in that film.
Yeah.
I will defend the benefit of the doubt in that he was only ever introduced to be cannon fodder. They just needed people to prove that it was a Suicide Squad,
That
right?
is the
You knew
Suicide
he was
Squad
cannon fodder from the movie, from
as
the
a
trailer.
concept, right? Even that's what the point of the original comic was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
I mean, I'll probably end up watching it because James Gunn, and James Gunn tends to make good
This
movies.
thing, Odeon have made it very easy to cancel your ticket and to keep an eye on how it's filling up. So it's all going to depend on how busy those screenings are.
I mean, I don't even know what I'm working yet when that comes out.
I'm also
So
booked in to see the Sparks documentary by Edgar Wright.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's one of his 2 films this year.
Here's two.
Yeah, a documentary on Sparks and then Last Night in Soho.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Looks good.
Does
I did watch,
that's Anya Taylor-Joy, right?
Yes.
She's very
Speaking of new films, I did watch Gunpowder Milkshake the other day.
How was it?
Well, I had a VPN into Netflix, which again, we're not sponsored by any VPNs, but you know, they exist.
Is it not in the UK then?
No.
Cinema in the UK, Netflix in
However,
the US.
it's not being shown in any cinema as far as I can see.
Is it not?
Oh no, I think it's a September release
Really?
in cinemas. Yeah, it's a weird one again.
God damn it! When will
Netflix in
companies
near enough
learn?
every country bar the UK and a few others. It's good though. If you want to see,
The trailer very much looked like it's female John Wick.
its tongue is much firmer in its cheek.
Okay.
If you want to see a polyamorous family of badass librarians kick ass, it's got all that for you.
I could just watch The Library.
Very different style librarians. However, I will never not let a recommendation for the Librarians franchise go unsaid.
I need to watch Librarians.
Pardon?
I need to watch it. I remember the original. Was it a series of TV movies?
3 TV movies that are all good, followed by, despite they shouldn't be. I like to stress that.
Yeah.
They should be terrible. They're good despite themselves, mostly because
before-
Noah Weil is.
It was
very
originally
charismatic.
just the Librarian, wasn't it? And then it became the Librarians.
Yeah, many years later, they made a TV show of it after Leverage finished. There's a lot of carryover from Leverage into the Librarians, which now that Leverage is coming back, and they've obviously got rid of Thingy for various harassment reasons.
Right.
Noah Weil is going to be in Leverage.
Nice.
Why not?
Because Thingy, the guy who plays Elliot, he's an actor I will follow. Christian Kane. He's just generally good in whatever he's in. At playing that kind of. He was great in Angel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because he plays the evil lawyer, doesn't one of the evil lawyers?
He does, yes. He's one of the Wolfram and Hart agents.
Yeah.
Him and the woman, whose name I'm completely blanking on.
Then obviously he's the muscle in Leverage, he's the muscle in Librarians. He has a pretty good country album.
One of those guys, is he?
Yeah.
Multi-talented.
I have enjoyed him in everything I've seen him in, so yeah.
Yeah, the Librarians is not. Again, it's not something I can necessarily. It's a bit like what we said about Dune, right? I don't know if I can call it good.
It goes back to what I was saying about network TV, in that I really enjoyed it weekly. Like just having this, like, here's a dose of it here or there.
That's it.
I don't know if I could.
Jonathan Frakes makes enough of it that it catches.
Jonathan Frakes is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That damn fun. Like I like Thunderbirds, but not the film necessarily. I like Thunderbirds the IP
As a concept.
But damn that film for killing Frakes' Hollywood career.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's Librarians comics, right? So we can be we're slightly on topic
I
here.
think they made some tie-in comics. Yeah.
I feel like I've definitely seen some.
I think that was a.
Maybe I'm wrong and I'm imagining them, but
no, there's at least one miniseries. Plus, if you like superhero comics, you're probably gonna like Librarians. I feel there's enough of a Venn diagram crossover.
Who else has written Librarians then?
What, as in for comics?
As in, are you saying that comic book writers have written for the show? Or?
Oh, no,
I
meant
mean fans of superhero comics, especially of like monthly superhero comics, who can kind of who enjoy the pulpy nature of those things. Would probably enjoy Librarians.
Plus, I think Librarians is great. Like, if you're a big Indiana Jones fan, right, and you just want more Indiana Jones, but you're never going to get really that much more Indiana Jones. Librarians.
Hey, we got a Mangold film coming out.
We have, yeah. It's got to be very good, but it's also probably got to be the last because Harrison Ford's stipulation.
This is 100% his retirement for that film.
Yeah,
like he's dying. Harrison Ford did not sign up to that project unless they were going to kill him off.
No, I mean, he tried to pull that in Star Wars 30 years ago.
Yeah.
There is no way he's not dying.
He did manage to finally successfully pull it off in Star Wars.
He did. It took him a lot longer than he wanted to.
Yeah.
But he was a good sport about it in the end.
But I apparently, like, if you can, it's quite easy to spot Harrison Ford up in Newcastle at the moment. Or was.
Yeah, he tends to like just wandering around and doing his own shit because he's a grumpy old man and just likes doing his own thing.
He lived in the UK on the canal barge for years.
I love Harrison Ford for being unrepentantly just doing his own shit.
Are him and Flockhart still together?
Yeah, they're still married.
Yeah, I thought they were.
Yeah. That was the reason that Flockhart didn't continue on the Supergirl show after season 1. Because they shot season 1 in LA. Yeah. When it was on CBS, and then when it moved to season 2, it moved to CW, and they wanted to move the production to Vancouver with all their other shows. Yeah. She didn't want to move because her home and her husband was in LA.
Yeah.
So I remember reading about that at the time, actually.
Which
I mean, it's a good reason as any, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. He's like quite nobly and famously has a lot of anxiety issues and really struggles with crowds and TV interviews. Which is why he comes across as a grumpy old man, even when he was in his 30s.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Famously, like he really struggles with them and like completely hates being interviewed. I think he's okay with like regular, like one-on-one interviews, but when it's a televised, like a chat show,
Yeah.
he obviously does a certain amount of them because he's contractually obliged to as
Yeah.
part of the promotional tours, but he hates them. Like he because he suffers from pretty major anxiety with them.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I think it's also why you tend to see him get and I think this is the same with a lot of celebrities actually. You tend to get a slightly less grumpy version of him on British talk shows.
Yeah, that
Mostly
interview
because I
where
feel like
he's drinking with I can't remember her name, the interviewer, and Ryan Gosling, and they just getting pissed is hilarious.
That's because a lot of British chat shows are a lot more relaxed.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I will state I generally hold that Graham Norton is the best chat show in pretty much the world.
He's up there. In his time, Jules Holland, I think, was great at that sort. It's a very similar style of show.
Yeah.
I mean,
Great at that stuff.
fair at his peak, Jonathan Ross was very good at what he did.
Yeah.
I do find it funny that, like, for me, he went to ITV, he just seemed to lose his whatever made the Jonathan Ross show tick. Never translated into ITV.
It didn't, did it?
No. And keeping it on track, Jonathan Ross loves comics.
Does he?
And writes comics.
Yeah.
Does he?
Has wrote some.
Yeah.
That's
He
news
wrote
to me.
one-
Again,
He wrote one for Clint, for the Mark Miller one. Some sort of gangster, 1930s gangster supernatural thing.
is
I can't say I'm surprised by this.
Yeah.
is a documentary series In Search of Ditko.
That's great, yeah.
It's well, series. It was a documentary. It was a one-off for BBC. It's very good. He finds him. Like,
I can't say I'm surprised by this, given his persona. Like even not actively knowing this information, it's not shocking.
Yeah.
and I think on that note, to be fair, actually, you can find it on YouTube, and it's the only place you probably. It's not an iPlayer anymore. So, In Search of Ditko is a documentary well worth watching.
There's another one, In Search of Mobius, as well, that BBC, I think the BBC did, which is not
Yeah.
Jonathan Ross, but that's really good as well.
And yeah, on that note, we'll see you next week for a more focused episode, I think.
Yeah.